Hey now, Tough Skin Soft Heart family. Welcome to another edition of Tough Skin Soft Heart. Hey now, Tough Skin Soft Heart family. I am so grateful that we are gathering. Hey now, Tough Skin Soft Heart family. Welcome back to another episode. And really just welcome back to our community table. Hey now, Tough Skin Soft Heart family. Welcome to another edition of the Tough Skin Soft Heart podcast. This is our sacred space, our healing space, our space of hydration. Look, we have been difference makers long enough to understand that wins without wellness leave us dry. And in the winter season, we understand how critical it is to have hydration for our bodies. That chapped skin, chapped lips, ashiness, those are external cues and clues that our bodies give us to let us know that we might need to up our water intake, to up our hydration. Well, the same is true for the state of our souls, for our emotional wellness, our mental wellness. We need hydration. And so I am so glad that you have added this podcast as part of your respite practice, your self-care and recovery practice, your healing and respite practice. It's just really important as we continue to lead, love, and serve in the midst of pandemic in transformational ways. And so today I wanted us to have an interesting conversation. You know, as I think about the Tough Skin Soft Heart family, we have a community of folks that span 12 countries. We have folks in our community that are entrepreneurs, that are owning businesses, that are operating side hustles. We have folks that are intrapreneurs that operate with an innovative and entrepreneurial mind within the company or system or infrastructure of another. And then we have folks that are really a hybrid of both, that are entrepreneurs and intrapreneurs. And so one of the things that I love to talk about and I love for us to share and chop it up about are perspectives, my perspectives, our community's perspectives through the mind of founders, because so many of us are founders of movements or founders of organizations, founders of entities, founders of a variety of things, that there is something just is interesting that happens in the mind of a founder. And so I wanted to share with you a recent experience in my own life as a founder and what it has taught me. And I've been thinking about what I would title this conversation that we would have for the podcast, and I just keep coming back to sit on it, right? There are some decisions and there are some directions and strategic steps that we need to sit on first before we actually activate what our next should be. And I think it's really important because there's something you would think that productivity in pandemic, or maybe I should flip that around and say, you would think that pandemic would make us naturally slow down our productivity. But if we can all really be honest, for many of us, we are connected to entities and institutions and systems that almost seem to increase activity out of panic. There are so many leaders and difference makers that I'm talking to that are giving greater output, that are working longer hours since they've been at home, since work from home has been our dominant reality, which is very interesting. It almost seems counterintuitive. You would almost think that pandemic would invite us to slow our pace, to take a step back, to press pause. But it's almost as if we've needed to prove that we can be, Energizer Bunny level producers in pandemic. And so as a team, we have been thinking through some innovation around our brand packaging. Every organization, every entity is always thinking about, every founder is always thinking about, how do we communicate our mission, our vision, our values, who we are and what we do in an omni-channel marketing way, so that what we do and who we are is visible, valuable, and vocal to our target audience. And so for us, we were having that conversation internally and we were starting to think about packaging. Now, here's a step into my mind and my heart as a founder. Because we curate products, spaces, and experiences that nourish human souls, I'm always thinking about from the time that something that we send, specifically on the product side of things, from the time it leaves our hands to the time that it arrives at someone's doorstep, I'm thinking about all of the humans who touch that package, all of the humans who interact with it. And I'm thinking those are people that are friends we've never met yet, right? And so how do we create an experience for everyone that's along that continuum of touch, from us to that end user? And so with that in mind, we had started to do some designing, and we're thinking about all things. We're thinking about color psychology. We're thinking about our messaging and our mission. We were also looking at what trends in the market were and trends in the market, what they are. We're thinking about omni-channel marketing, just all of these different things. And we came up with the initial prototype. And y'all, I liked it, but I didn't love it. And so, I was sitting on it a little bit. And, I was getting emails from the team asking me what I thought, like, here's version 1, version 2, version 3. Are we ready to go into production? And I was like, just something within me wouldn't let me move forward. And I think it's important for us to pause there as a family, because that's not something that's special to me. I think that often for many of us, there are times when we're being pressed to make a decision, pressed to take an action, pressed to move forward, and we get that little nudge that says, press pause. And sometimes we override it out of external pressure. But in this moment, I paused. And I ended up telling the team, you know what, at that time we were getting ready to go into December and the holiday season. And I said, you know what, I want to press pause on this. I want to give myself a chance to sit on this and to think about this. Let me marinate on this. And then I'll circle back. We'll circle back and we'll make a decision at the top of the year. Well, in the course of sitting on it and taking some time away, mentally disconnecting from the office and being in a different environment. And that's really important too. I think that's been one of my lessons. When you need to sit on something, when you know you're not ready to press play, when you know that there's something missing. And that was it for me. It wasn't that it wasn't good. It was just, there's something missing and I couldn't put my finger on it. And so for me, sometimes that means I love to go do things like take a walk. I love to do things like travel. You all know I believe in vision field trips. I love to do things like look at magazines or look at things that inspire me. Sometimes I go into stores and I take a look to see what's out there. I'm just getting some data points from a variety of places, but then sometimes I'm getting quiet. So it was in this moment of being quiet, and at the time I had an opportunity to be on the beach, and I was just quiet and kind of journaling, that I realized that a lot of people don't check their mail and their snail mail that gets delivered to their home, because they often feel like it's something for me to do. It's a bill. It's a problem. It's something for me to fix or resolve. There's no surprise or delight when it comes to what's in my mailbox. So in that moment, while I was there on the beach, I started writing, because words are our jam. That's what we do really well as a company. I realized that some of the angst I was feeling was because I was trying to fit industry trends versus setting the trend and doing what we do exceptionally well. And so in that moment, right there on the beach in my journal, I started to pen these words. I said, surprise, this is not a bill. This is not something for you to fix or solve. This is not a task. This is not a to-do. This is love. This is an investment into your dreams and aspirations. This is a seed into your big dreams. This is for you. And it had a heart at the end. And I said, this is the packaging. This is what we're supposed to say. We don't have to put our logo and our website and all of the traditional things that folks say you have to do. This is who we are. This is what we do really well. We're words people. And so when I came back after vacation, I shared it with the team and they were like, this is what it should be. And then I came to many of you. So many of you, thank you for voting. We shared some of the prototypes after we went back into the lab and came out with a part A and a part B. And we asked if you were team A or team B. And I am so thankful, the resounding applause that came from you that yes, we nailed it and that you would love to see this come into your mailbox. It just meant so much to me. And so I just wanted to invite each of us into that moment from the way that I think as a founder. But one of the most valuable lessons I have learned in pandemic, and it's a lesson in emotional wellness, it's a lesson in emotional intelligence. It works in your personal life, it works in our professional life, and that is to slow down. Sit on it. Sit, grab your seat, sit on it. We have to stop trying to lead, love, and serve in transformational ways with haste. Innovation, and I know there's so much that we hear about innovation and being first to market, to being first, first to invent, first to create, or early adopters or fast followers. And the language that we live in, that systems language that we live in, it is very easy to give into the pressure to push, to pace, to faster, to do it quicker. It's almost like there's a metronome that's doing this every day that we open our computers. But I am finding that the pathway sometimes to our next requires us to sit with it, to sit on it, to not move so fast, to rest a spell. And I've been really meditating on that recently. My grandparents, many of you have heard me share this. My grandparents were the first entrepreneurs I knew. They owned an auto collision shop on the west side of the city of Detroit, and they were also pastors. And so I remember there was a time on any given afternoon where my grandmother would either make herself a cup of Sanka coffee. Sanka was her jam. She would make some Sanka, or she loved crushed ice. And this is before we had refrigerators that would crush it. So she would put ice cubes in the towel, and she'd fold the towel over the ice cubes, and she'd take a hammer and she'd sit at the table and chop her ice and put it into a cup, and she'd cross her legs at the ankle, and she'd sit in her favorite chair in the kitchen by her china cabinet with Martha Jean the Queen on the radio, and she'd close her eyes and she'd sit a spell. And I remember as a child, I would ask my grandmother, like, Granny, if you're sleepy, that doesn't look comfortable. Like, why don't you go lay down? And she would often say, baby, I'm just resting my eyes. And so as a kid, I didn't understand it. But like elders often tell us, there's some things you understand by and by. And so this past week, there was a day where Founder Life, y'all, was just taking me through. It was just a difficult day. And in that moment, I just had a vision right in that moment of my grandmother. And so I did what she taught me to do. I closed my laptop. I turned everything off. I grabbed a cup of water and I sat in my favorite chair, which is this one. I crossed my ankles. I closed my eyes. And when I tell y'all it was restorative and beautiful, that I came out of that moment of respite clear, ready just to make some of the decisions that I needed to make, but I needed to press pause. I needed to sit with it, to sit in it, to sit on it, and to sit in stillness before I stepped into another space of decision making. And so those are my words of encouragement. That's my inspiration and strategy to each of us. Where do you need to sit on it? Where in your life or in your leadership do you need to say no to haste? No to a pace that's taking you into a place where you might decide something prematurely. Where do you need to sit on it? Just sit on it. That's not laziness. That is not procrastination. That is giving yourself the grace and the space to make an educated and informed decision. So sit on it this week, y'all. Give yourself time to unplug and look at it differently. And then unplug and then plug in and see it differently. I love y'all, and I'm thinking about you. Until next time.